Greetings, everybody. Patrick here. 8 questions with. I know we're here going off at 4 o'clock. That is because I forgot that.
I know we're here going off at 4 o'clock. That is because I forgot that. I know we're here going off at 4 o'clock.
So went off at 4 o'clock. I forgot that we moved back our time. We moved back and gained an hour or lost an hour or whatever. But that hasn't happened in Great Britain yet. Great Britain, Scotland, Ireland, they haven't. So they went from having a 5 hour gap to a 4 hour gap. So I forgot about that. So I had to go back and fix it, which is why we're starting the show today, right here, right now. So our guest today will be our good friend Kelly Goudie-Price will be back with us today, and we're going to catch up with Kelly and see what she's been up to. Um, and she's got a couple of movies in the can, and we're going to catch up with her and see what's going on. I think there's also has been a move that's happened from what I'm gathering, but we'll catch up with Kelly here in about 15 minutes. Wow, this has just been a really rough day. Um, I won't even kid you. Um, so it's really weird. It's really weird seeing a deja vu. Um, there's a voice actor who I actually interviewed with. I interviewed. His name is Eric Stewart. He's not only is he a voice actor, but he's also he runs he has the Eric Stewart band. And Eric Stewart, maybe the name on the surface probably won't mean that much to a lot of us, well, except for us fanboys, die-hard fanboys. Uh, he is a terrific voice actor, and he has done many, many memorable characters. He's the American version for a lot of the Japanese anime that comes over to here. He gained probably his biggest fame for voicing Brock on Pokemon and for Seto Kaiba on Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, but a really terrific young man, really nice, really nice young man. Got a great distinctive voice. Couldn't help but love Seto Kaiba. um, but about 3 or 4 years ago, he was really happy. He got married, and we're all celebrating with him. And stop me if you heard this before, but his wife Lindsay, she she got diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and I mean he put it out there for everybody to see. I mean, if you're a friend of his on Facebook or on Instagram, he doesn't pull his punches. He says, "This what's going on." So, of course, when I hear that, I hear those two words, I just send shivers up my spine, right? Like, please, please let no, this can't be happening. But it does, and it did to a really nice young couple, and they went ahead and underwent treatment, and they went into remission. Lindsay went into remission. Like I said, stop me if you've heard this before. So here they are. Everything's going fine. They're doing. She's in remission. They're living their best lives. But then she started not feeling too good, and they went ahead and went back in. And the cancer patient's worst word is recurrence, and that's what happened. And not only has it come back, but as ovarian cancers do, it does come back aggressively. And just watching him say this, watching him say the words, like she has a partial bowel obstruction. I'm just sitting here going like, he sounds just like me. He sounds just like me, 13, 14 years ago. But it seems like fucking yesterday. He says, yeah, she has, there's other problems. So they're gonna go and they're gonna continue with chemotherapy. And that gave me optimism though. It gives me some optimism. Um, it's the fact that when Lorianne got sick with her ovarian cancer, um, they threw the kitchen sink at her. As far as chemo goes, very, very sick. It was the medicine was called cisplatin, and we didn't know it at the time, but that was the Hail Mary. That was like, because she was already so sick, she was already advanced already. So they just threw the kitchen sink at Lorianne, and was cisplatin, which is called the Red Death because it kills everything. It doesn't care if your friend or foe is taking you out. Um, and it was pretty horrible, actually, really, really horrible. Um, it just was, just not good. So I was optimistic. I still am because they haven't used that on her yet, on Eric's wife yet. So she still has an ace in the card. Actually, she has two aces, and she's still ambulatory, from what I understand. So she should be able to apply for some clinical trials. They're always running clinical trials. They're always looking. So she's still ambulatory. She's still on her feet, and so she should be able to contact. I'm not sure what state she's in. I'm not sure if she's in California or New York or what have you, but either state that she's in either one of those two states. They're good hospitals there. Um, and she should be able to hopefully take some clinical testing, and also she should be able to take cisplatin. She should be able to take that. Like I said, it's not a pleasant one, but just reading the words coming back at me, I'm going like, man, oh man, it sounds like me all over again. Talking. I was like hearing myself. When I was reading his post, I'm like, this sounds so familiar to me. And you're just like, you get really, you get really, you get emotional. You get sick in your stomach. Like I've been feeling like I've been sick all day, just thinking about it and knowing what he's going through. Um, and I think I froze. I did. Let me bounce out and come back in, kids. I haven't had that happen for a minute. So yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird, you when you know people who are that sick, and not really close to them. I mean, I'm not like I can't just sit here and say, yeah, they're my pals. But like I said, we've known each other for years, acquaintance, I should say, put that on the level. Um, but still, you don't have to be a close friend or a family friend to feel that way for somebody who's going undergoing that. I feel horribly bad for him. Yeah, I hope out too. Me too. Hey, Ricky, how are you? Man, I'm just, it just physically makes me sick. Okay, Kelly is going to be coming up here. I'm going to tell her to come on up. And I believe, all right. Okay. And we're going to find out some good news here from Kelly. Um, been a while since her and I have talked. The last time, and of course, I wanted her to get here so we can talk about this a little bit more. I do know that her fine husband, Dan, I know that they were going to try to start a family, and but she's been working too as well. The only thing I'm not sure if she took. We'll find out right here, right now, as Kelly walks through the door. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
All right, all right. What's going on? What's going on, Missy?
Not a lot. How are you?
You look great. You know what? Oh my gosh! You know what? Can I say this without getting killed? Because I mean it in the most great way. It was just sort of funny because when Alex came on last week, I had him with this too. I hit Alex. I'm not sure if he saw the show with me and Alex, but
Yeah.
I'm going there going like, Jesus Christ, he looks just like Hagrid, and
Yes, he does.
and so I'm looking at you right now, going like, Jesus Christ, she looks like Xena for the Warrior Princess.
Like, Jesus Christ, she looks like Hagrid.
He looks like Hagrid. You look like Xenia. I'm like, what the hell? I love it. I love it. The only thing missing is a chakra.
I know. I don't think I've got anything that would be. No, I haven't got anything that I can pretend, unfortunately.
You know, it's funny. This is a recent thing, the last year or so. A lot of actresses now that are doing action movies and what have you, especially the ones with doing the sword and sorceries type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Women are keeping the swords.
Oh,
I know at least 3 different actresses that have sword collections now.
I mean, to be fair, if I was playing, I steal from everything. I'm like, this, I'll just take this. This is my little thing that I'm going to take home and just hoard for the rest of my life.
Don't you take souvenirs home? Don't you take souvenirs home?
Yeah, 100%. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's not nailed down, I'm having it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just thinking about maybe we should go block off that area over there. And so while the directors turn, everybody's let's see what's Kelly's saying. Then over here you sit there and say, man, I could use that bow and arrow. Yeah.
even when stuff, and there's been like parts of costume that I've really liked. I'm like, oh, I've wore these boots for 3 weeks. You're not going to give them to anyone else because
right.
So I will take them home. So yeah, I have like little bits of costume. I have candlesticks. I have anything I can get my hands on.
Ricky is here and says, Kelly, good to see your mug again. Ricky, holy Rick. That guy keeps me in stitches though. Like, he's a comedian. That guy is fearless. And Cheryl says hello. Anthony says hello. Yeah, I bobbled the start time on this because we did our thing with time, right? Because we roll back our time.
Yeah.
So normally it's a 5-hour gap between us and Great Britain and Scotland. And I forgot about that. And that's why I'm like, man, but you know what? It seems to me I did that once before. So let me see what time. I typed it in and there it says 4 hours. I said, oh, that's what I thought. Damn it. So that's why I had to go back around and clean it up and go like, no, come in today, right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like, are you ready? I was like, oh no, am I late? But no.
Yeah, no, because I was like, now you'll catch up. I'm not sure when. I want to say like maybe a month or so is when you're gonna get you'll switch your time.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's fall back, spring forward, isn't it? So
yeah.
I never know when it is until someone says, oh, you've got to get up an hour early, and I'm like, what? Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, the only thing I think about when they roll back to time when it gets darker earlier, I just think that because they're just doing that because it's Christmas season. And you tend to shop more during Christmas time when it's dark.
Yes.
So that's their way of like trying to stimulate Christmas shopping.
They're just out for themselves.
Which is terrible because we don't have anything we don't have anything to shop at anymore.
Oh.
All of our malls, they're gone. They're all gone. Our businesses, I mean, just about every company that was here is going through is disappearing. Everything's being pushed to online.
Yeah. It's so I love going around the shop. I love having a mooch around and just wasting time.
Now I understand, not that I heard anything about this from anybody, but I understand that you moved since the last time you and I talked.
Yes, I have.
I don't know where I heard that from, Ricky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm in Scotland,
Yeah.
and I live in an old farmhouse in a field away from everyone, and we're just living we have some chickens, and we're getting some bees. We're trying to grow our own vegetables. We're just trying to be like sustainable, and I don't know, just have a different way of life. I think where
How far are you away from Edinburgh?
like I'm far away from everyone. I'm far away from everything. Edinburgh is like 5 hours away.
Gee.
Yeah, like I am closer. I think I'm closer to Norway. I'm in line with Norway. Basically, I'm right at the very top. So, it's lovely. I love it. It's a complete change of pace, of lifestyle. But obviously we both are self-employed, so we can do that wherever. Like when we were driving around Spain in a van, we could both work, and obviously for projects and all sorts of things, we've got cars, so that's really good, so we can always work our way back down. But yeah, it's been a big adventure. Obviously it's not over yet. We've only been here for a couple of for 2 years now, but yeah, we're really enjoying it, and it's I feel like it's quite wholesome. I have like a little wholesome life, which is really nice.
Now, that's what I mean. Are you still doing are you still acting? Are you still doing the acting coach? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, 100% still doing. Truthfully, I don't think I'll ever not act. I can't imagine. I mean, obviously there's been times, and I think if there's any creatives watching, there is times when you just think, stuff this, like I'm not doing it. It's a load of rubbish. I'm trying to keep my language under check, but sometimes you just think, stuff this, I can't do it. But then I just think, I can't imagine not acting. I can't imagine not auditioning. I can't imagine not writing. I can't imagine not dreaming about where I want to be. And also I'm really stubborn, and I've worked really hard. Like nothing has, like a lot of working class actors, nothing's been given to me. So I feel like I'm not gonna step away from it. Like even though it gets hard, and sometimes it's really not demoralizing, but sometimes you feel like you're putting so much in and you're not getting anything back, and that's really hard to stay mentally focused. But if you believe in yourself,
I'll say that when I heard that you moved to Scotland, I got really excited because that's where I thought you had went to. I thought you had moved closer to Edinburgh because, quite honestly, I mean, there's a lot going on there. They have a ton of theaters there.
mm-hmm.
I mean, other than London, I think as far as the UK and Scotland or Ireland, I think after London, I think the Edinburgh is probably the second most important city wise as far as an actor goes. It's sort of like here when we have New York, we have Chicago, we have LA, and that's how I thought. I'm reading Brian Cox's autobiography right now.
Yes,
and he came from Edinburgh, and he was saying how he, pretty much everything he got as an actor, he got a lot, from there, from doing, Shakespeare and other plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think the industry changed a lot when COVID happened, and I think in terms of like auditioning and all of that sort of stuff, you can literally be anywhere in the world. Self-tape is king. People don't have to hire rooms. They can sort of fit it in around them. There's sort of less pressure on casting directors to be there and sifting through things, and they, obviously agents submit your spotlight reel, and then the casting directors will go through it and pick who they want to see, and then they just get like 10 self-tapes rather than having maybe like an open audition where they're just seeing a sea of people. I think, if I'm honest, like, even though I'm far away, I've never felt more creative. And I feel like now I'm going out and I'm like, I'm sourcing opportunities. I'm like having to make, it's been a bit of a kick up the arse, because obviously now I'm like in a different place. So I have to go out of my way to make connections with people. I'm meeting more creative people. And, you know, I travel down to Glasgow quite a lot of the time because of the mentoring that I'm on, the writing and directing mentorship that I'm doing. So it's really exciting, and I don't feel like I don't know, I just don't feel like I'm out of it.
How far away are you from Glasgow?
The same, about 5 hours. But when I go down, like, I can get on the train, and then I'll stop overnight, or I'll stop for a couple of days in a hotel and then just come back up. Like, okay. I travel all the time, but I traveled all the time when I was in Nottingham. You know, someone says, I've got a role for you, it's in London. You don't think twice about getting in the car. You know, even when I was in Spain, someone said, I've got a role for you, it's in Birmingham. I caught a flight. Like, it's not, I think if, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. And
sure.
Yeah, so that's good.
Now, I'm glad to see you're still teaching, but I mean, I want to know a little bit more about, you know, you were like over here, business is starting to pick up.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like despite what you might hear about, you know, like, it's having a hard time, you know, through the fires, through the strike, through the COVID. But man, oh man, it seems like there's so many different things getting off the ground and going now. It does seem to be getting very busy. Are you seeing that over there? I mean, are you? I mean, you worked on some things since we last talked. Mansfield Street. You did both. You did the original movie and the sequel.
Yeah, I think, to answer your question, are things picking up? I think it's quite hit and miss. I think sometimes it feels really busy and it feels like a lot's happening, and then sometimes it feels really, really dead. I think in terms of like indie stuff, yeah, there's obviously new filmmakers are coming out all the time, and I think people are getting really creative with not a lot of money. That's always the thing with like indie. There's not, if you don't have a budget, it's kind of like beg, steal and borrow. But yeah, I think that's sort of picking up. But I think like the bigger stuff, sometimes they get so far with it and then they stop, or things get moved at the last minute, and that can be quite disheartening. I've done, since I last spoke to you, I've also been doing like some work for an agent, so I do see that side of the things as well, like behind the wall, if you like. So I see the amount of like professional auditions that are going out there, which is really useful because it's kind of calmed the voices in my head a little bit, because sometimes you think like, oh, why does no one want to see me? And it's not, it's just like, sometimes, you know, people are casting, it seems to be like trends, like at the moment there's a lot of roles for like Scandinavian looking people. I don't look Scandinavian. There's lots, and sometimes you get a casting call and it's like super specific. You know, they want someone like 5'2" that can play the trumpet underwater while standing on their head, and you know, that's not a skill that you can learn before your audition.
Well, I definitely know that. I definitely know that you could do Shakespeare, and you could definitely do period pieces. You've already done that. You do Supernatural. You've already done that. I'm just thinking to myself, you know, because Alex came on here and he did his new movie called Piglet.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, going like, gosh, you know, if they ever take Snow White and make her into a horror film, man, I wonder if we can get Kelly to do that. She can play evil Snow White.
I would love to play a villain. I'm always like, I think obviously a lot of like the horror work that I did, especially when I was younger, it was like Final Girl and like that, like the victim, the screaming, crying person. I would love to play a villain.
Hell yeah. I mean, you know, Piglet needs a pal.
Piglet does need a pal. You should tell them that. Tell them that Piglet needs a girlfriend.
That's right. That's the latest thing that you guys have actually done better than the U.S. And that is you guys have run with that with all the Pinocchio and the crystal and the Pooh the bear, Pooh Bear, and evil Paddington Bear, or whatever else there is. Like as far as that goes, leprechauns and shit
Yeah,
like that. I mean,
I
the UK has just jumped both feet in there, and they're making out tons of movies.
yeah, they are, and I think specifically that production company, I ITN, yeah,
Yeah.
I think like they've kind of like found their niche and their groove with it, and that's something that they're like really focusing on, and I think why not?
Now, why? Yeah, exactly. I mean, would you be all right with dressing up as evil Snow White and killing the dwarfs?
I would love to be a villain, evil Snow White, whomever. I don't know if I'm like, I don't want to sound like, ooh, but I don't know if I'm like maybe too old to be but like Snow White now, but I could definitely be like the
Too
the evil queen.
too old. Oh
Yeah,
no, no. Because think of all the great clothes you get to wear though. If you're a Snow White,
amazing.
yeah. You can play a costume villain.
Yeah,
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. Ricky says that says they did a horse Snow White where Sigourney Weaver was the witch. See,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay, well, you know
Um,
what? If it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me.
and of course, we have Ricky here saying playing the bad guy is always the most fun. That's right. That's right, Clarence. Uh, we're still waiting for Clarence to make his return. As Ricky did a one night rental. We're waiting for him to come back. Honest to God, Kelly. When I was watching that, and I'm
Yeah,
watching, I'm going like, man, this is the UK's version of Ryan Reynolds. He's just playing himself. He's playing himself. This is him. He is Clarence. Clarence
yeah,
is him. He's not stretching much here. Uh, uh, yeah, the villains. But though I don't know. I still think, yeah, of course. I definitely feel like if you got a horror film and they wanted you to be the evil queen or what have you, I definitely grab it with both hands and both feet. Like I
yeah,
said, it's really popular right now.
yeah,
The only thing I would tell you to do, and I have no qualms of saying this, is that and it is if you I just can't. I know I'm not supposed to do this.
no, you
I'm
can
not
say
supposed to I'm not supposed to speak ill of anybody,
you're
but
amongst.
I've seen her movies.
I know what you're going to say. You don't even need to say a name. I know who you're talking about.
I mean, me and Alex were just shaking our heads last time. We're going like, oh my! And I've seen some of those. I'm going like, that's just not right. It's so freaking painful.
Yeah,
It makes me mad. Makes me mad when I see, because we got a couple of directors like that here in the States that I don't know how it happens or why it happens, but they continue to make movies and they're just like for shit.
yeah.
But
And
at
some
the same
people are like
time,
money.
yeah, at the same time, it's like, you know what? It's another movie made. It's another independent movie that we didn't have before. So, but I just can't get behind her. I just can't. Hey Brene, how are you? How are you? Glad you're here. Have you had any? Did you ever audition for any of her films, or did you just run away screaming?
I just let those opportunities to other people.
That, God, what a sweetheart.
I know.
What a sweetheart. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna let you take care of it, honey.
Yeah.
Here,
No,
you break in with this Leprechaun movie.
yeah.
It's
No,
all
sometimes, you might see an audition call and you think, oh, that looks really interesting. Um, Sometimes I go with my gut. If my gut's like, no, thank you, then I just no, thank you. you know, you want to do stuff that's ultimately going to elevate you and make you look good, and something that you're going to be like really proud that it's out there. So if it's not doing that, then someone else can have the opportunity.
I was a little frustrated, to tell you the truth, because as you know, we're the Kelly Goudie-Price fan club. There's no doubt, everybody knows this. I was really, like sometimes you'll see an actor and they'll get a role, and then you sit back there and you just wait for it to happen. Like, there's been a couple actors this year that really got some, they did some really not cool projects.
Yeah.
One actor ended up doing a movie with Glenn Powell. Another one, she did a horror trilogy.
Okay.
That's absolutely fantastic. It's fun as hell.
Yeah.
And I do think that she'll pop, and you get excited for that. You go like, man, this is gonna work.
Yeah.
I thought that with April.
Yeah.
To me, and in the wait and April, I said, man, this is here she goes. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be. Woo. All right, we're gonna have some fun in the chat now. Video Tasties Gareth and Ricky are here. They're brothers from another mother. We'll be thoroughly entertained. I really thought that was gonna be it. I really thought that this is it. Darren's gonna be, because Darren was I have not heard from Darren since April.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he's at. I'm not sure where he's at. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's still making things, but he's put a few casting calls up, but I don't fit the role. So it's,
No. When you say that, are you saying that, or is he saying that to you?
No, I'm saying that. I
knew it.
I'm like, that's not
you gotta let him say that to you.
I think like what I've kind of realized is there's some people that will go for absolutely everything, and that's great. But for me, I think like I know through like the self-doubt the creatives go through, I've become really aware of what it is that I'm good at. Like, what is it that I have? Like, what are my skill sets? What's my strong skill sets?
What do you think? Okay, after all this time, Kelly, what do you think as an actor? What do you think is your strong point and your weak point? I mean, I'm just telling you because we've watched your work since since I met you. We watched just about everything that you've done. I don't know how we see. I mean, it's just curious to see it, through the eyes of a fan and through the eyes of the talent. I also I'm just saying this right here. I'm not putting him on any pressure or anything right now. But if I know, like, if Rick walked in here or Alex walked in here or Darren walked in here and I said, what do you think? I know that all three of them are going to sit there and say, I see no weakness in her acting game. I see no weakness. Now they're peers. My voice wouldn't mean shit because I'm not an actor. But to me, I turn around and sit there to Darren and I say, what do you see as a director that a normal, like to me, it's like, oh, it's like this. Like, what does a director see with Ryan Reynolds?
Mm-hmm.
He's a horrible actor. Very rare. I mean, I don't say he's horrible, but he's lazy. He's horribly lazy.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, so what makes him so, like, why do you go get somebody like that when he could, the chances of him coming in there and giving you a good performance is 50-50. Someone like a Rick or Alex, or when they work with you, only thing they see is you working 100%. Your craft is strong. You're really easy to work with. You're generous. I mean, you're skilled. And then to me, in the independent pool, especially in the UK, since it's not that deep, I just think that I just feel like I've always felt this way. I've always felt like, man, she's ready to go. I still feel that way here today. I
Yeah,
still feel like, and then when and I of course I would move you to Edinburgh, but but I still feel the same way with you. I still feel like you have the skill set to pop. I mean, and I would really, I think that's the same thing with, because some directors, I think some directors like being pursued a little bit,
hmm
from clients. But I
oh,
think they like that, like, hey Joey, you got anything coming up? What do you got coming up? I think they like being asked.
yeah, no, and I agree, and I think that's creative people all over. Like, creative people love having their ego stroked. Like, let's just be honest, especially in a industry that is full of rejection. It's really nice when someone says, hey, I like your work, I'd love to work with you. So I completely agree with that. I think in terms of like, what is it that I think I do, or what is my skill set, I think that I am really strong at anything that requires a whole lot of emotional connection. I think I'm a really empathetic person, so I can always put myself into other people's shoes. I think anything that is sort of, strong, emotionally led, I'm there for it. I love diving into the subtext of scenes. I'm really serious. Like, I don't just get a script and go, okay, I know my lines, and show up and then just hope that it works. I love putting the work in. I love researching a character. I love like deep diving into backstories. I love sort of like all the homework that comes with acting. And I think sometimes that gets forgotten. I think sometimes it's obvious that has been forgotten. I think another strong thing that I'm really good at like weird, quirky, silly roles. And I love doing those. I think a lot of auditions I get a lot of the time are for those sort of characters. So yeah, I'd say that those two sort of things, like either something that's like super emotional, and I don't just mean like emotional by crying. I think sometimes people think, oh, it's an emotional, she's just gonna cry. Like that's not it. I
No,
think
not at all.
but yeah, that and comedy. And in terms of like feeling like I'm getting there, I think like last year I had a huge audition. I had someone ring my agency up asking for me directly, didn't want to see anyone else on the books. They came specifically for me because I had a specific skill set that they were looking for. And they were like, is she available on these dates? And my agent was like, oh, I'll just check. And they were like, no, don't worry. Like, but we really want her to audition. And I can't say anything about it because I'm hoping that they do come back. But I got recalled and it was really, really exciting. And I was like, this is it. This is the moment. And when you have those, like, as a creative, you have like, oh, I really want to do this. So some people will be like, oh, I really want to make it. I want to go to America and do a film, or I want to be a lead in a feature film. Like, for me, this kind of role in my head is like, I would be, if I ever got to do that, I'd be so happy and so proud of myself. And it was for that. And I was like, this is it. This is it. And then they cut the character. So but they said, they were like, this character will come up in another season. So we're going to come back to you. So I'm just, please, hoping to the universe that someone comes back and gives me another go, because I felt like I could taste it.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew the UK had a lot of TV shows. I didn't realize how many shows the UK have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of TV. You guys have a lot of TV.
Yeah.
in the UK. How often do you audition for TV shows? What's the process like? Is it the fact that you have to be asked to audition, or can you audition if you see it in the trade? If you see it in the trades, we need someone for Holby Hills. Are you allowed, or Holby Hospital, or
Holby
I'm not
City.
saying Coronation Street. We'll say that we'll let Ricky have that one. Uh, but is that something that you could chase after now? I mean, can you chase after TV? Are you allowed to go to the BBC or what have you, and sit there and say, I want to audition for for Blue Hillers or what
Yeah,
have you?
like if you had a contact name, like people would absolutely reach out to casting directors directly, you know, people do that. People will go on and see what casting directors are in charge of their favorite shows, and they will maybe, send them a link to either their Spotlight, which is their professional, it's basically Facebook for like professional actors. You have to have a certain amount of credits to get on there. So it's like everyone is a working actor. So you would go on there and you could either submit your Spotlight, or you can just write them a letter or an email and just say, hey, I love your work. This is what I do. This is who I am. I'd love to be considered. And that's great. So yes, absolutely. You can go about it that way. How many, obviously those people will get hundreds of those emails. So there's no guarantee that your email will have been seen or will have been read. It does happen, but I don't know how often that happens, but normally what would happen, particularly, so with Spotlight, that's where all the professional work goes. Everything goes on Spotlight. If you have an agent, your agent will spend their day going through Spotlight and submitting you for things that you fit. Occasionally, like that incident that I had last year, was so fortunate to even have that, because the casting agent has gone through Spotlight and is looking for a specific person, specific gender, specific height, specific accent that can do X, Y, and Z. And I come up, and then they're like, they watch your show reel, they like you, okay, we'll give her an audition. So that happens sometimes, but I think with big shows, so like with EastEnders or Coronation Street or any of the other, I know I'm just saying soaps, but with any of the sort of like popular shows, your agent those subs won't go out to all agents. Your agent has to be like on their books to know what auditions are coming up. It's very like, there's levels to it. So sometimes they have a new casting director, your agent needs to reach out and like build a relationship with that casting director just to get a scene or just to get access to the auditions that might be coming up.
Now, since we talked last, you've actually been very busy. You've done some projects here. I think that we should talk about. So last time you and I were together, we talked about The Wait, which you did with Alex. That was an absolutely beautiful short film. The short film that's top drawer. It was top drawer, and I really enjoyed it. Now, as far as a feature film goes, after you did April, you got it looks like, I'm not sure if they're all supernatural, but you got the Mansfield Ghost. You got the 2 Mansfield Ghost movies, 13 Sherwood Avenue, and then Tales of Ghosts and Demons. So you sort of went back to the beginning of your career. You sort of went back into the supernatural horror. Are you comfortable in? I mean, do you like being known as a horror actress, or is this a case of you just went where the work took you?
So a bit both. Like, I love horror. As somebody who consumes a lot of horror, I love horror. In many forms, in, you know, short films, feature films, podcasts, anything, like videos on YouTube. I love horror. So I'm always excited when an opportunity for horror comes up. I think horror is very popular because I think, who doesn't like being scared? Like, everyone loves a good horror film. So I enjoy doing it. Is it something that I'm like, oh, I only want to do horror? No, no. I would love to do like more drama, more like heavier pieces. I love.
You did such a great job with April. I mean, you know, that's the first time I can sit there and tell you that you stole a scene, you stole a movie, and that was in April. Your scene with your partner there, that was the whole highlight of the movie for me. When you guys were having out. That's just that. Yeah.
And I love those sort of stories. I love anything that's kind of like working class, sort of hard hitting. I hate the word like gritty, but it was gritty, real, raw. I like all of those sort of things. They are characters that, like, if I get an audition for, or if I have an opportunity, like, they get me like chomping at the bit, like, yeah, let me at it. Like, I love doing that because I love submerging myself. And I think, like, with horror and stuff, as much as I love it, sometimes the character arc isn't as strong, or like the character development is, because obviously there's so many other parts of horror, there's so many other wheels turning, you know, tension and the baddie like running around with a knife, or you know.
It's funny as you're saying you're saying this, and all of a sudden now something just got, something just passed through my head. I'm more like, so let me just ask this, so I don't like the Mansfield house. That's not related to the Ashcroft entity or the Baylock, is it?
No, no,
Because
no,
that guy made that movie like 10 times. So I'm just wondering, did he try to remake it again and call it the Mansfield?
no. So I'm sure like Anthony is like Unholy. I think he is doing like another mix of it or something with it, because it's the 10-year anniversary of Unholy this year. So I know that Anthony's going to be like doing something with it.
He's gonna remake it.
Well, he better bloody not. Not unless I'm in it.
He's gonna redo it. You know he is. It's the 10th. It's the 10th anniversary. I'm gonna redo it.
Yeah, I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna recast it. Or maybe we go back and we see Margaret, and she's an old woman and she's still haunted by the ghosts. I don't know.
That's right, and she has the final fight.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Mansfield, because that came to you after. When did that movie come to you? When did that come to you? And was it based on what they had saw on April, or The Waiting, or did you did they come after you because of your previous work with the Unholy, or the Baylock Resident?
So obviously in Nottingham, it's quite a small area. Like, everyone knows everyone. So I'm sure that Rich had seen Unholy and he knew of Anthony. But how it actually came along was our good friend Rick. And he said, oh, you should message this person. And sometimes I message the people. Sometimes I'm like, fine, I'll message a person. So I messaged Rich and was like, hey, hiya. So and it was like, I'm sure it wasn't like, was it COVID times? It was around those times. It was like when the world was weird. Well, the world is still very weird, but it was when the world was just entering its weird phase. And it was, yeah, so that came along, and then all the others just sort of came after. And I mean, some of them I was just a voiceover on. I did a couple of voiceovers because Rich is, I don't know if you've seen, like, Rich does amazing shadow puppet, like horror stories. They're amazing. It's true artistry. So I did like a couple of voiceovers on them. And then another one that he did, I was filmed remotely, and I was like, this bitch, this bitch on FaceTime all the time. And yeah, so yeah, and then on one of them, yeah, I was just a voiceover. I was the screaming neighbor having an argument. Sent me this, and he was like, can you just read?
They probably got you from that, can she scream? Oh yeah, she can go. She got long.
Yeah, she's loud. So yeah, I can remember just being up here, and I recorded the voiceover, and I did it like 4 times, and by the end of it I was like, because I'd really, I like giving it 100%, so I really went for it. And it was like 3 pages of dialogue to like scream through. So yeah.
Have you met, and have you had a chance yet to meet Chris Annable, the director of One Night Rental?
No, I have not.
Have you seen it?
No.
You have not seen One Night Rental?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I know. What a cow. I
No,
think
no, not at all, not at all, not at all. Just that,
I
no,
know
I'm gonna have to slap Ricky across the nose and sit there and say, "Why? How come she hasn't seen your? He's so good."
I'd seen like I'd seen bits of it that that Ricky had sent me, but just like small moments that he sent me on Instagram, and then I know they'd had like a couple of showings, a couple like obviously the premiere, and yeah, and I hadn't. I'm sure like when the showings were, I just wasn't in Nottingham, so that's why I haven't seen it.
It's very charming. It's very him and Danny Thompson, who I actually saw in another movie that she did called Pumpkins. I'm just gonna leave that right there. I
Okay,
love Danny. I think she's fun.
yeah.
Danny Danny's absolutely she's terrific. And Rick was hilarious. And to me, I'm like, okay, so this is one of those cases where, wow, hopefully he'll introduce you to Chris Animals. Hopefully down the road, you guys could connect. I mean, even though Chris is probably going to go, he's probably going to be. I could be wrong. Rick can tell me, but I think Chris is going to be. I think he has a fine future in horror films.
Hmm.
Let's see. Rick saying Kelly stole the show in The Unholy. The dude who played her partner was wooden as hell.
What said that? Sorry, I was talking.
He said, "Yeah, well, he basically said your scene partner, you could put him on the lake and he float."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, that's really
Uh,
that's
yeah, I
the
like the unholy. I mean, that's what they renamed the. Why did they rename it for the Ashcross entity from the unholy?
that was the distribution company's call.
Okay. Yeah, because I like that. I like that. That's a good title for a movie. We actually got one over here that got released by a major studio, and it
Yeah.
had Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, called The Unholy.
So
Um,
maybe they changed it. They didn't want anyone getting confused by this huge blockbuster and our tiny little indie film.
uh, it's funny. It's funny. I honestly tell you the honest to God truth. If you had told me your movie was coming out underneath the Unholy, and as well as the studio movie, I would have said they probably would have been one and the same. You know, but I was because Jeffrey Dean Morgan he's a great TV actor.
Yes.
He does not translate very well to feature films. I cannot tell you that. I can't tell you why. I can watch him on TV all day, but when it comes down to him doing a movie, and
Yeah.
it's like that for it's like that for some actors. When they get on TV, they're great. I mean, they're solid. They're great.
Mhm.
But man, you put them in front of the big screen, and they just don't translate well. They don't. They just don't. They're just not. They don't have the same. They don't have the same vibe. They don't have the same. They don't have this. I don't say sparkle.
Mm.
Let's see, Jake. Let's see. Let's see. Chris is working on a movie with Kate Beckinsale at the moment. Oh, Kate Beckinsale.
Wow.
I love Kate. I feel so bad for her. I think she fucked up her back, which is why she's had all these problems. I think she really hurt her back really bad, and she's never been the same actress.
Yeah.
She's never been the same. Never has been. I think that yeah, I think the medications that she must have to take. I'll leave it at that. I would to me it's like don't see, to me this is one of those cases where here's Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Everybody knows her as an action hero, right? Everybody knows her as an action hero, in Underworld and in so many other movies.
Hmm.
Me, it's like this is the time. This is be the time where you sit there and say she doesn't have to do those roles in order to sparkle.
No.
It's like why do you insist on stuffing her in roles, especially when you know someone who's maybe has a history of injury. You
Yeah.
know, to be more careful.
Exactly. Really irresponsible.
And Jake Boston is here. Hello, Jake. How are you? Kelly is a super underrated actor in the UK. I see nothing but bright future for her. Yeah, yeah. That's why we're here, Jake, because we've been beating on that drum for quite a few years now. Actually, and she knows that. She knows her biggest fans is in the United States. That's right. That's right. And now, as far as that goes, twisting the roles around. Did you when you did Mansfield House? How did you get that? I mean, was that a word of mouth booking right there, or did someone watch you? Did someone watch you do some of your work previously? How did you get the role?
I think, in like what I was saying, Nottingham is small. It's a small place, and people talk. I think he had seen some of the earlier stuff, obviously, that I did with Anne, and then it was just a case of a couple of conversations. And I think sometimes some people, if they like you, they're like, okay, let's do something. So, it pays to be nice. It pays to be friendly. Um,
Sure. Always.
yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, I just got quite lucky with those ones.
Now you played two different roles, and you played two different roles. In the first movie, you played Lily, so that was you had a character, and then in the second one, you played a ghoul. So did you have to get makeup for the second one? Was this first time you ever did true monster makeup?
Well, I did True Monster makeup. Well, obviously, I in COVID did that. I did some special effects courses just to stay busy and stay creative. But in terms of like first time like having like monster makeup in a film, yeah, because I'm normally the one that's like running around being chased by a ghost or like a killer. So yeah, it was the first time that I got to do that. But again, I think because of that being in like weird COVID-y times, it was just kind of like small cast, obviously tiny crew, and we just did what we could with what we had.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's hard to dole out a budget on that line. Like a
Mhm.
50,000 to $100,000 movie, and it's like, on the paper you think, wow, that's a lot of money, but then again, once you start really thinking about it, it turns out to be not so much. It's like, you think, well, they had money for they would think they would have money for makeup, but lo and behold, it isn't always so easy, is it?
It's really hard. Like I'm doing a short film now, which I'm writing and directing and acting in. But I've been given a budget for it, and obviously like that's the producer's job to like make it happen, but it's so tight. It's a micro budget, it's for a short film, but it's like budgeting's hard, and everything costs loads of money, everything. So trying to make things happen, like I'm still kind of calling in favors for people, and I've had a bit of funding, but I'm still like, hey, you know how we're really good friends, do you want to help? Like, please.
It's like that, and over here in the United States, it's pretty much it's pretty much seems to close the door as far as how movies are going to get made. Bigger movies are going to get made. They're going to get made basically through. In fact, I just saw this today. Before we got on. I saw that Robert Rodriguez,
Hmm.
Jensen Robert, he basically is going out to crowdsource. He calls his new project Bare Knuckle Productions, and every movie that he's going to make going forward is going to be all crowdfunded.
Mm.
So everything he says you can invest in any movie that I'm going to make. You put your investment in it, and then your name can, then you can. That seems to be the norm. That seems to be like before they do, like, okay, well, we need an extra $30,000 to close the deal. Let's just do a GoFundMe or Indiegogo just to get us over the top.
Yeah.
Now they're not even hiding it. I mean, the thing with Robert Rodriguez was really interesting, was like they're just straight out going like, "Hey, we want to make movies like for you, but in
Hmm.
order for us to make these movies, we need you. I mean, not only to watch them, but we also need you to fund them."
Yeah. And
And
I
it's
think,
really shocking to see someone like Robert Rodriguez out there saying that, because you think that that guy wouldn't need any money. He doesn't need that kind of help to get a movie made. but
Yeah.
maybe he does. Maybe the last few movies that he's made haven't hit the projected mark.
I
Because
think,
go ahead.
and I think there's like the Bloods and Bandits film that Alex is in, that I'm in as well. The one where he's being Thor. And I'm in like the second block of filming, and they have funding for the first lot, but it's like, film the first half of the film and then hope that everyone buys into it, so then we can complete the film and get more funding. So it's just it's tricky, but money makes the world go round, doesn't it? So
let's see. Our friend Cheryl said that she has not. She said, I have not watched The Unholy yet. Fell behind. This afternoon I'll watch it. And then I put down to watch the Baylock Residence. Is really good. Yes, Cheryl. This is one thing still, and to this day, I still have not seen this duplicated, and that is, I have not seen a UK actress headline in America on 2 DVDs. Has had her name on the DVD in the cast as a star. Still have never seen that since. Kelly has done it twice, and it's just that's absolutely it's mind-boggling to me.
I need you to be like the little angel on my shoulder. So every time when I have like just this awful feeling that we get as creatives, that you get every week, where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't even act. I just need you on my shoulder, just like saying all these lovely things about me. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, we like I knew that you had when we were talking beforehand. Now this is the furthest that we've been since we've talked.
Yeah.
I knew that you had you had mentioned that you and your husband Dan, you guys you guys were going to plan it to hopefully start a family.
Yeah.
And if you were going to take some time down and to do that. And to me, it's like, you know what? That's what she says she's going to do. Until I hear anything coming back, that's how I'm going to look at it. When she knows where I'm at. When if it happens, you know what? I didn't want to interfere. To me, like whenever I ask someone to come up and talk to me, I have a well-known director who I asked 3 times if he'd do an interview, and he said yes, all 3 times.
Yeah.
But we could not get a time frame. We could not get a time down to save our lives. And finally, what I did was I did a watch party. I did a watch party with another director.
Okay.
And the director that I wanted to come onto the show, he goes, "Wait a minute, you guys are doing a watch party without me?" but I'm going like, I've already asked you 3 times. I don't ask more than 3 because I don't want to see seen as a pest. Someone tugging on your shirt all the time. Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly. You don't want to be one of those people. So that's one of the reasons why I was a little quiet. I'm still watching, but still quiet. I said, well, when the time's right, we'll talk for sure. But I didn't know. I did not realize that you had done the other movies till Ricky had said, hey, they're out. And again, that's part of 2. Is part of there's probably a lack of physical media, whereas before your movies would have came over to the States. Now it's not that easy.
Yeah.
It isn't that easy. Did the Mansfield Ghost or Mansfield Road did they actually get a physical release, Kelly?
I think like the first one that we did, I think it's fair to say that Rich had taken some time off filming. So I think the first one we did was sort of like just getting back into the swing of things. And then I think after the first one, then he started getting back into it and stuff. So I think he probably pushed maybe a little bit more. And I think the ones that followed were probably stronger. And I think he's obviously he's back on his role now, and he's continuing to make stuff. So that's really good, because I think everyone whether it's actors or filmmakers, writers, indie directors, like everyone everyone steps back, everyone has a break, everyone's like, oh, I need to just feel good about myself for a little bit, and then they start making stuff again.
Ricky had to go, since I got the business to take care of. I'll catch the rest of this later. Have a great night. And you know what that is? I already know what that is. That that's Ricky going to bed.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that because I sent him, like, we send each other reels. We send each other reels all night long. Yeah, we try to make we try to make each other laugh. So I always get him. I'm always cracking him up. I know I'm doing good when he'll sit there and say, Jesus fucking Christ, and I'm going like, yeah. So what possessed you to I guess I hope that's not a bad word to use. I mean, but what did possess you to try to go and to move to Scotland? Was it, now you're out in the middle of nowhere? I'm just curious, do you? I mean, I know that I know there's you do your auditions through film, you self audition or whatnot. But do you feel that's a little bit too far away from anything? You said earlier how 5 hours away from Glasgow, from Edinburgh. Do you feel, as an actor, I mean, as a wife and a mother, or working from home, I think living where you're at is probably dead on perfect. But as a creative, with no other creative outlets to bounce off of because you're 5 hours away,
I think so being here I've gone out and found my own opportunities. Like, I'm not waiting for someone to give me a chance. I'm not waiting for someone to like knock on my door and say, hey, come and do this with me. I'm like being a lot more proactive with my career. When I was in Nottingham, you get spoiled. Because everything's on your doorstep. You can go do this. You can go meet this person. You can go and do this. And being here, like, I've had scripts on my laptop for years and not done anything with them. And then being here, like, finding opportunities and finding like funding and like writing competitions or whatever that I can put my work into and get funding and meet people through that has been really, really great. There's an art centre that's not too far away from where I live. Like I say, I'm always sort of like traveling around anyway. I never feel like even when I lived in Nottingham, I still traveled around. When I was in Spain, I'd still travel to and from. I'll go wherever the opportunities are. I think it's if it was like relying on like open auditions and like physically going and being in a room all the time with somebody, then yeah, it would be different. And would maybe I have better opportunities if I lived in London or a big city? Maybe. But do I think that that's the only way to make stuff happen? No, I don't.
Now, what's your town? How big is your town that you live in?
Not very big.
Oh, so there's no tiny community theater there, right?
Oh no, yeah, there is. Yeah, there's tiny community theater.
Really?
And the person, so I'm doing the films that. So I got funded by a somebody called GMAC that fund filmmakers, first-time filmmakers, and through that I've met a documentary maker who lives 10 minutes down the road, and he's like my little creative pal now, that I'm always like, oh, what are you doing? And obviously, the internet is great. I'm always connecting with people and working on different things. And I think, like, as a creative, if I'm honest, yeah, it is about being in the room, but a lot of it is quite solitary.
This will be your first film that you made then, right?
This will be my first film. Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, we're due to start filming next month.
Okay. What can you tell us about the film?
I can tell you everything about the film because it's my film. So, so
Okay.
it's a short film. It's called Eggs, and it is about a couple. It's not at all based on my real life. It's about a couple that are trying for a baby, and it's not happening. So they are dealing with infertility, and they are having IVF, and it's about their experiences with IVF. And it's about a couple that are going through, it's about two people that are going through the same situation, but they both feel desperately lonely for different things. It's going to be a tearjerker. I've had lots of mentoring sessions with very, very accomplished writers and script editors and all of that sort of good stuff. So I'm really, really excited. I'm really passionate about it, and I think it's going to be really good. Like, I think it's going to be, I know it's going to be amazing. Like, I've got a good team around me, everyone that I've brought on board, like the DOP, the sound recordist, everyone's super passionate about it, and I can't wait to put it out there. I can't wait for you to watch
I
it.
can't wait either, because I love short films. I mean, no secret here. Everybody who's watched this show at all knows that I'm a huge short film fan. I love short films. I mean, look at The Waiting. I mean, I was absolutely blown away with that. That was just an amazing short film.
Yeah.
I love the genre. I feel to anybody who's going to get into that directing needs to do short films.
Yeah.
Don't come out and think that you're gonna do a feature film for your first movie. No, nobody does that. Very, very, very few people would do that, and most of the time that though they do, they crash and burn.
Yeah.
So, so this is gonna be very exciting then. I mean, to do the short film. Yeah, and a tearjerker at that. So now, are you going to do both duties? Are you going to be directing and acting in it, or are you just going to concentrate solely on directing?
I've literally I've made a rod for my own back, so I'm writing, directing, and acting.
Okay, good.
Because
No,
I think, like, because it is incredibly personal, it's scripted, it's in the fiction category, but it is like 98% fact. It's based on my real life, and who better to play me than me?
just curious, how did Dan, your husband, feel about it when he read the script?
I think, like, Dan is a super private person, and I think, like, when I wrote it, he was fine with it because it was just another project that was on my laptop. But
Okay.
then I was like, oh, surprise, I've submitted it. Then it becomes real. And then I had to have like a conversation with him and say, look, this is going to be out in the world. And like, not everyone's going to know that that's our life, but
There might be a few in America that know. I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah, and obviously my friends will know, and some people will figure it out, but yeah, I think Dan's like super supportive, and every time like I do another draft or I get feedback and I like rewrite things, I always like share it with him. And sometimes he's like, but I wouldn't say that, and I'm like, but it's not you. Like, it is you, but it's not you. Like, and so I think there's an argument scene in it, and he was like, oh, why do I have to be the bad guy? And I was like, well,
He hates
not
doing
about
that.
you.
He hates doing that with you. I love him for that. Dan is my hero. Remember during April?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys had to read off each other, and he was like, he didn't like it, but he had to yell at you, and he's like, I don't really like this. That's why I knew Dan was always going to be my hero. I'm not going to yell at my wife for that. I mean, I'll help her out, but do I have to yell at you?
Yeah. I mean, one of the argument scenes, like the male character swears, and he's like, but I don't know if I would swear at you. And I'm like, this cinematic, like, you need to not think of it as you and me. Like, I'm doing it for like payoff for the audience. Like there needs to be some release. And he was like, oh, okay.
That'd be hard. I still think that's got to be absolutely hard for someone who's a non-actor. I mean, my reaction would be the same as his. If he told me, "Okay, Patrick, I need you to yell at me," I'd be going like, "You want me to what?" You know, because I mean, I want you to. Yeah, Alex, step in.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Like,
Yeah.
sometimes if we do like self tapes and there might be a scene and he's like, oh, I'm not really comfortable, and I'll be like, okay, like we have to go through it a couple of times so he gets, and even though he's not on camera, like he's just reading it, but sometimes it's good to have him give a little bit so I've got something to react off. But then there are times when he gets like way into it and I'm like, you need to calm down. You need to, like, who do you think shouting at? You need to calm down. This is my audition, just wind your neck in. Or he'll like shout and I'm like, you can't be that loud, like, okay.
Yeah, that's so much fun. That's so much fun. Let's see. Cheryl says, "I bet you were doing some manifesting for the second half of filming, Kelly." Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. It says, and she also signed to your sub to your YouTube channel and Instagram page, and good vibes. Yeah. Kelly's one of the very best that she's definitely one of the very best that we've gotten onto the show. Definitely elevates, makes me a better interviewer than I am. But we have so much fun here.
We do, and it's always lovely to catch up with you.
I know it won't be as long. I'm glad as today. I'm so glad today because before you got here, I was telling something else, doing my prologue, and I was sitting there going like, I had a case of deja vu. Well, I was watching this guy, and he's sitting there on his Facebook, and he's saying how sick his wife was, and I'm going like, with the same thing my wife has, and pretty much looking down the same damn barrel that I did, and I'm just like, I'm just like, I've been feeling sick all day because I just know
that.
I know I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I want to hear and sit there and say, yeah, go team, and there's a great chance. There's who knows, miracles happening, and I'm going, but there's that side of you, that pragmatic side of you, is going like, yeah, not going to work.
Yeah.
When he says, well, there's this happened and something else happened, and going like, as soon as you hear that, you're going like, it's like, and you're just like, oh, then you start just thinking, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. But you start thinking about him. You start thinking about him because he's gonna be here.
Yeah.
He's gonna still be here. He's still gonna be here after. It's like, and as much as you want, you want that miracle to happen, but it's like you start thinking about him and going like, I just, it's a, so it's always a good time to have to talk to a friend, or have a good time and take your mind away from that. What do you do to keep yourself occupied out on your farm? I mean, do you? Is it constantly writing? How do you like writing? Does it come natural to you now?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, at the moment, everything, like all downtime, if I'm not teaching or researching what I'm teaching, sometimes I'm like, because I'm teaching lots of different people and we're doing lots of different things. So if I'm not lesson planning, then yes, I am writing. I am like, filmmaking is hard. And I think like when I did my, when I was going through like the interview rounds and stuff, I think my naivety was quite endearing to them because they were like, oh, how will you do this? And I was like, hey, just do it, don't you? Because like I'm just used to, with indie film, like someone just getting a camera and you just do what you can and everything's like just done on the fly. And
yeah. What about that? What camera are you using? I mean, it sounds sort of funny, but it isn't. But are you just going to use your cell phone, or do you have?
It's proper. They've got like the proper kit. I don't know what it is, but they went through the kit and I was like, this is great. This is all proper stuff. And then I told the DOP and the camera person what they were, and they were like, perfect. So I know that they're good stuff, but I don't know what they are.
So probably a digital camera, a red camera.
Yeah, it's like proper big. It's like yeah, I've had to do it's really official. Like I've had to do risk assessments. I've had to do like applications to film on the roads, like with the council. I've had to, it's so with me, I was just like, oh, you just do it, don't you? Because that's all the films that I've done. If we're not supposed to be filming there, we have just played dumb. If someone comes along and tells us we're not allowed to film there, oh, are we not? Sorry, I didn't realize. We're just young people with a dream.
Yeah. That works. Do a Bowfinger style.
Yeah, this is real. So they're like, you need to do this, you need to do this, and we're like, okay. So yeah, I've been writing a lot. Writing has been a journey. I think like when I first started doing it, I was like really emotional, and we get onto these like Zoom calls with everyone, and we'd have to like talk about our stories, and everyone's talking about these fictional things, and it's brilliant, and I loved it. And they'd be like, okay, Kelly, and then I'd have to talk about my story, and I was crying all the time. Like I was such a crybaby on all these Zoom calls, crying to like strangers. They must have thought, oh, who is this freak? And then I sort of got through like,
did you ever wonder why they didn't do that?
What?
Why didn't they look at you and go like, wow, what a freak? Or like, did you ever wonder why?
Oh, well, I'm sure they did when they got off the call and was like,
I'm gonna tell you why off camera. It's okay. 2 words. You know the words already.
I was just like, I kept crying, and then we have to, so now writing is, I love writing. Part of me is like, I want to be a writer. I want to be an actor and a writer. I love writing. I've like really got like a hunger for it, and I'm already thinking like, okay, what am I going to do next? Because I've sent my scripts out to people that have read lots of scripts. I've read lots of scripts. I read them all the time when I get auditions for things. And
are you in contact still with Darren at all? I mean, you still talk to him at all, or has it been a while since you talked to him?
He sent me a message probably a month ago. He sent me a message. I
would use him as a sounding board.
We have very different styles. We have very different. Darren and I have very different styles, but I'm really proud of my script. I've had like amazing feedback.
It's a drama, right? I mean, your story is a drama, right?
Yeah, it is, but it's different. It's different. Like I think, like right.
He's a fine dramatic actor. He's a fine dramatic actor.
Yeah, I think we're both coming at it from different points of view. That's what I would say. I think I'm writing something that is very
something maybe you feel like a woman would
absolutely. And I think like that's I think Darren is a very good script writer, but I think we have very different styles, and I'm really enjoying my style. I think it's really good, and like because I have got those mentors that are like writers for like BBC and other.
So important, isn't it?
Yeah,
to have mentors?
I've had really good feedback, and I've also had good feedback from my peers as well that have read the scripts, and they're like, obviously we're all sort of in secret competition with each other. Like, oh, I want to make the best film.
I think that happens. I do think that happens. I wouldn't necessarily say send the entire script out to anybody. Not to anybody. I would not send all your script out to anybody, even if it is a short film, a 10-minute short film or a 12-minute short film. I wouldn't send it out. I would send out, like the first 3 or 4 minutes. I definitely feel that way. I wouldn't, you don't want to give out the whole thing. But
obviously, like with my mentors and stuff, like I have had to send them the whole thing so they can go, oh, I think we need to work on this bit or that bit. And then like in the learning process, like when me and the other people that are doing the GMAC funding thing that I'm doing, we've had to like share treatments and like part of our scripts as well.
That's what's really great about Great Britain. I gotta give Great Britain that, and that is man, your government helps pay for their artists. They support the arts, and
Mhm.
they'll go out there. They'll sit there and say, "Well, you know what? We looked at your film. We looked at it. We see all the location shots you do, all the exteriors, interiors. Here's $22,000. Come back with it. Let me know. Let me know where you're at with it. And go out and get after it. I mean,
Yeah.
that just doesn't happen over here. You can't write your local congressman and sit there and say, yeah, dear drunken Ted, Ted Cruz,
Yeah. Please help me.
I said it. Here our governments don't give a rat's ass about the arts. I mean, it's arts they're always being attacked over here, and
Mhm.
over in Britain they're always being elevated, except for the bottle cap, the acting bottle cap, which we talked about. Alex talked about that again. I frustrates the shit out of me. That's the
Mhm.
one thing. It's the only thing I totally find totally like just annoying as hell to me as far as filmmakers in the UK, and and then it's not their fault, but it's definitely the people at the BBC or what have you, where it's
Yeah.
like, why do you only feel like this is only 10 people that can do anything for your channel?
Yeah.
I just absolutely hate that. Um, and like I said, I was reading Brian Cox's autobiography, and he's sitting there, he's doing Shakespeare, he's doing anything he can, and I'm getting to the point where he's gonna move, he's gonna come over to the United States. And the
Mhm.
one notice right off the bat, Kelly, I thought this really saves his ass. But everyone wants to be the star.
Yeah.
He trained himself. He knew him in himself that like I like to be a star, but I know I'm not going to be a star. I'm going to be a character actor. And
Yeah.
to me, a character actor is the star.
100%. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
where
not the star.
the strength comes in knowing your strengths. And so many people get into acting because they want to be famous. And I think if that's why you're getting into it, like I don't want to like break anyone's hearts or ruin anyone's dreams, but no, thank you.
I'm very curious to see. Oh, what's the title of your movie?
It's called Eggs.
Eggs. Okay. Okay. It's gonna be very exciting now that we know this is happening. You have to come back after you get done shooting the movie. When you go into the fun part, the post production.
Is this
Uh,
the fun part?
are you gonna edit it?
Yeah, so I've signed my editor on and I'll be editing alongside with him. So yeah. So it's a good job that he likes me because I was like, oh, sorry, I'm going to be really probably annoying. And I've got there's quite specific parts in the film that are going to be a nightmare to edit. So when they said that they really wanted to edit it, I was like, well, let me send you this bit and then you can tell me if you still want to edit it.
You know what the secret is to a good editor, Kelly?
What?
An editor who's a director.
Yes. Well, he is. So that's good.
I have come to the conclusion of that a long time ago, thanks to my friend Sean Kane. He's a fine director, and he also edits. And now he's won awards for his editing. And I'm like, you know what? He's just an amazing editor because he's also a film director. He knows what a director wants to do.
Yeah.
Like I can see what you're trying to go. An editor might not know that. An
Mm-hmm.
editor just might edit it just to edit. Like this is what I think. This is what I think.
Yeah.
Whereas a director who is also an editor goes like, I see what she's trying to do here. Let me see if I can present it to you through the eyes of a director as well. And I think it works so much better.
Yeah, definitely.
So what is next for you after you say you're going to start shooting next weekend? So
I shoot next month.
Okay.
Start on the 3rd of April. So doing that, I'm really like, I keep thinking like, oh my God, this time next year it's going to be like at festivals, and that's like, so yeah, gonna do that. And then in terms of like acting, obviously carry on auditioning. Like, if anyone's out there that wants to cast me. So yeah, but I've also got.
I would send whatever you got. I would send that over to Chris Annable. I didn't know he was working with Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, wow, no, I'm bloody dropping a message. I'm doing yes, I've got Eggs, and then I've been cast for like a TV pilot that is happening in the middle of the year. And then what else is happening? If Jake's still in the chat, he's writing something. So he's going to cast me. And then what else? Oh, and then there's obviously Bloods and Bandits, which is starting this year as well. And I play a cunning woman, a woman that I think is really good, but she's not. Or is she? It's one of those
Are you gonna go femme fatale?
Well, it's like Viking time, so I don't know if she'll be.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's more going to be like weird peasant woman on the street.
I'm trying to get my friend Nicole Vegas. I'm trying to get her to go. I'll try to get her to do a femme fatale role. She's perfect for it. Perfect. She's blonde. She's beautiful. She's lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah. She got the background, the real life background. Like she's in the air in the armed services and the cop. She's a former. I'm going. You'd be perfect as a femme fatale.
Yeah.
But she can't go all the way because femme fatales. They're slinky and they get up close to the guy. They're like smooching on him while they're in there taking all the secrets away. She says, "I don't know if I could do that." But I never say never because she also did a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
To play the killer clown, and the outfit in that. Yeah, she shouldn't have any complaints about doing a femme fatale role. I'm like, why are you complaining about being an evil girl? Because look at you made a great clown.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, why not? But looking for different roles to play, that would be interesting to see you as a great villainess. Someone who maybe is that femme fatale.
Yeah, I think I'd love that. I think in the TV pilot, I'm like, it's like about religion, and I haven't done anything like that before, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, just any like different. Oh, I don't know, just anything.
Are you gonna dress up like a nun?
Oh no, like not. I think it's more like a dystopian world.
I saw a movie they did. I saw a movie they filmed up in Scotland. In fact, you probably know the place I'm talking about. It's actually a real place. It's a church at the edge of a cliff. It's the abbey's at they got in the movie called Consecration, and basically it's a church. It's a Catholic church that got set on a little bit of land, but the land itself is controlled by the Vatican.
Wow.
It's a real place. It's a real church. I don't know the name of it is, but it is actually a real, like anything that happens on the grounds of the church is turned over to the Vatican.
Wow.
But they made a movie called Consecration with Jenna Malone. I saw that last year. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, I'll definitely look that sounds really, really interesting.
I loved it. It's one of my favorite movies I saw last year. Just fantastic film. Well, okay, that's gonna be my last question to you, other than this one, is what was your favorite film that you watched last year?
Favorite film I watched last year. Favorite film. Go. Favorite film.
Don't see the coffee table.
I can't remember. So that says a lot. What's my favorite film? I don't know. And that's a really boring answer. I don't know. I think I'm also quite a recycler. I end up watching like a lot of the same sort of stuff that's like my comfort, that I'm like, oh, I know this is going to be good, because sometimes you ever like put something on and 10 minutes in you're like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm watching a movie from I'm watching an Amicus movie right now from the 1973 or 74.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching it right now to review it, called The Beast Must Die.
Oh.
And it had one of the most charismatic and more dynamic actors. Should have been a huge star. Handsome as hell.
Yeah.
Calvin Lockhart. Love that guy. He had a great voice, great look. Should have been a major star. And and he did a horror movie called The Beast Must Die, and so I'm watching that for the first time, and he's just kicking ass as he always does. But
Uh-uh.
that came from 19, like I said, 74, 75.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of the like I saw the movie called The Coffee Table last year. That was my number one film.
Mm-hmm.
Would not recommend that one to you though. So,
Okay.
yeah, that one might upset you.
I will.
I'm pretty hardened, but I almost got sick watching it.
Oh,
So I'm not going to recommend that one.
no, I'll put that on a
No,
quick
no,
miss.
but I would recommend Consecration though. Late Night with the Devil. I saw that called. I saw a movie called Bounded Vengeance that came out in 2015. But it's the
Mhm.
first time I saw it. It was the first time I saw it last year. Love that movie so much. So good.
We
Action.
watch films like every week. We watch films, and I can't think of one now, like one that stands out that was really wow, that was amazing.
Are you
And
no? Are
I'll
you still?
one I'm like, put that.
I'm curious. Are you gonna go ahead and like get a couple of notepads and when you start watching these movies, because you're gonna now you're gonna be directing your first film. I think you're gonna switch over from watching it as a just as a fan, like someone like myself. You're gonna start watching the movie as a director now. You're gonna be sitting there going like, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I like what they did with this. I like
Mhm.
how they got that. You're gonna start making notes for that, and you're gonna start applying it to your own movies.
Yeah, I mean, I already have done that with things and like watching different things for different reasons and uh taking notes, and then obviously for like building my mood boards and stuff, and then realize quite quickly that a lot of it's a film called Private Life, and I'm like, oh, this bit from Private Life and this bit, and then I realized everything was from Private Life, but it's because I really really love that film. So yeah, it's really, I am trying to think about things differently and like watching different short films, um and just kind of trying to broaden my knowledge and my taste as well, because I think sometimes, like as an actor, or not even as an actor, just as a consumer, you watch something and if the story doesn't pull you in, I'm like, nah, I'm not bothered, we'll try something else. But now I'm like, okay, what do you like about it? Some people put a lot of work into it, so find something good.
Sure. All right. That we have hit with the button, and I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming in and hanging out with us today. I really do appreciate it. Ricky and Cheryl and Brene, thank you so much for that. And I also want to say thanks to our Gareth for coming in. Gareth rocked in, and Stacy, thank you for coming in. And oh, hi, Bedazzle, how are you? Glad to see you made it in. And who am I missing? Stephen Sheets came in, and Anthony came in. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We'll be speaking with Will Soto, and he has we'll be talking supernatural stuff tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun too. He's a storyteller, and he also is investigates the paranormal and cryptids. So we'll be talking about Nellie tomorrow. Maybe talk a little bit about Nellie, Loch Ness monster. How far are you away from Loch Ness?
Like 2 hours maybe.
Oh, okay.
Not far.
No. And you never know what you might shoot over there, because Murder Herzog shot over there. You never know. Maybe we'll get lucky and catch Nellie on camera. We want to thank you again, Kelly, for coming in and staying up late with us and doing this chat. So hang out with us just for a minute, and to everybody else, I want to say thank you again for coming in, and we will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock with Willie Soto and the Red Tree. Let me get this. That's what I'm just gonna call it. It's the Red Tree Podcast, and he does, like I said, he tells stories about various supernatural entities and cryptids and all sorts of good stuff. And he'll be here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. All right, that is it for us. We're out of here. Stay right where you're at, Kelly. Everybody else, good night, and we'll see you tomorrow night. There we go.